I'm gonna look. It didn't take
Ooh.
you long to get out the pom poms for college basketball. Let me read a tweet from you.
Ooh,
Jalen
okay, this is
Suggs
good.
could have gone to the
yes.
G League and made $500,000 this year. Mark my words. Based on his move up draft boards and all the endorsements he's about to get, he's going to make way all caps more playing
How
1 year of
much?
college hoops. Maybe college basketball isn't so bad after all. I think
How
Mark
much you
Emmert
making,
sent
Aaron?
you a check
Yeah.
to write that. Is that? Can
Yes.
we come clean?
Well, so this is what I would say, and this is something I always argue. College basketball. So listen, kid wants to. First of all, for the record, let it be stated. If you want to go to the G League, if you want to sit out and train for a year, if you're going to be a second-round pick or undrafted and want to go pro, I never criticize anybody. You know, the old saying, I don't mess with anybody else's money. Whatever you want to do is fine. What I will tell you, though, is there's no doubt Jalen Suggs is a perfect example of how much college basketball can help a player. Couple quick things. You know, you can go back, look at mock drafts from before the season started. People will press me on this, but it's on the internet. The internet never forgets. This guy was projected as the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, whatever, 6th, 7th pick in the draft. He may go number 1 right now. I don't think he moves up draft boards if he goes to the G League or trains for the season. Chris, I know you follow this stuff, man. I know you know who Jalen Green is. I think Jalen Green, who decided not to play college basketball, is an incredibly talented player. I don't blame him for taking money, but he has been completely off the grid for a year. And maybe he'll be more prepared when he gets to the pros next year. I don't know. But I do think the exposure that college basketball gives, the fact that Jalen Suggs, who knows how many people saw that shot, but it's probably, in the tens of millions right now. I think it's going to help him on draft night. I think it's going to help him with
But Aaron,
Go ahead.
but the only problem is LaMelo Ball played, and I don't know where he played. I didn't get to see any of
Australia,
them. And
Lithuania.
he's a third pick, and he got endorsements. He signed all kinds of stuff. He didn't even play. He barely played high school. He didn't play college, and we didn't see him play other than clips on social media. Did that hurt him?
What I would say, and I truly believe this, and you guys will push back, I think LaMelo Ball is the exception to the rule. I mean, LaMelo Ball had, and I've told you guys this story before, LaMelo Ball, I was at high school tournaments when LaMelo Ball was a sophomore. I remember one time I was at a tournament. Eric Gordon, who was then with the Houston Rockets, I don't even know who he plays for now, shows up, walks in the gym, crickets, nobody cares. LaMelo Ball walks in with Lonzo, and the whole arena flooded to him. And so, I'm serious. I swear on my life, and I feel bad that I put out Eric Gordon like that, but it's the truth. And so, listen, LaMelo Ball, I believe, is the exception. What I would tell you, Chris, and push back on me if you want to on this, Zion Williamson signed, what was it, the second biggest shoe contract ever coming out of coming into the NBA outside of LeBron.
Right.
I know Zion had a huge brand before college. I don't think he gets the dollar amount that he gets if he doesn't do what he did at Duke. And I'll be curious to see. Maybe in 6 months I get proven wrong, but I would bet that Jalen Suggs gets the biggest shoe contract coming out of college or coming into this draft, And I suspect that one shot, that one game, I think it made him millions in the long run. And back to my original point, going from the 7th pick to the 3rd or 2nd or 1st, that's $15-20 million over the course of the first contract. I haven't seen any of these G League guys move up any mock draft boards. I have seen Cade Cunningham lock in as the number 1-2 pick. I have seen Jalen Suggs move up. I have seen guys like that.
What I would say is that Suggs is and Zion for that matter, they're exceptions to the rule too. Because what if Suggs doesn't have that tremendous ending? Not just the shot, but the block, the dime that he threw, the bounce pass was that Drew Timmy
What if he
or whoever
loses
it was
tonight and has a stinker?
I mean, I just think Suggs is the rarity. Ben Simmons didn't even go to the NCAA tournament. James Wiseman didn't even play in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
Didn't even play in college, but 3 games. So that's all I'm saying. I get it. Suggs had this shot that we're going to remember forever, especially if they win the night. So, yeah, he helped himself, but did a lot of other players, all the other players that went there, how many of them, the rest of them helped themselves?
No, listen, it's a balancing act, right? I think Evan Mobley helped himself. I think most of the guys that went to college that actually played reasonably well, like Yeah, Jalen Johnson wasn't playing well and quit the team. Like, I hate to say it, it's the truth. Yeah, he didn't hurt himself. Maybe he was the exception that it would have been best to just sit out and get off the radar for a year. But you look across the board, and I just think the stage of college basketball, we criticize, and I understand. I know you said my college basketball pom-poms. I get it. By the way, we can go to the NFL draft. I heard about all these guys. They're such heroes for sitting out and don't play. If you didn't want to play because you didn't feel safe, that's fine. Nobody had heard of Zach Wilson 8 months ago. Now he's going to go number 2 overall. The only point that I tried to make, and you guys know this because we've all been in the middle of a Twitter storm here and there, you can't make the full point you're trying to make in 120 or 250 characters or whatever it is. But I just think the stage that college sports provides, some families, they can afford to send their kids to school for a year. They don't need the money up front. And I think the stage that this sport provides, college football provides, whatever, is a great, great, great platform to build your brand.
Yeah, only problem is it's a crooked business and it doesn't help the kids enough. And that's why it's so hard for me to endorse college basketball. I'm just that I
it's
just
a
have an
stage.
issue.
There's a stage.
Right.
There's
it
no
is. I know,
denying
but
that.
I'm just saying that's my problem with college basketball. One last thing I would like to ask you about Hubert Davis getting hired at North Carolina. Does this mean, and I'm being very serious, is North Carolina on the way down? Is that why Roy Williams is getting out? No, I'm asking, or am I missing something? Or are they still like the power that they used to be, or are they coming back? Where is North Carolina as a program?
What I would say, Rob, and this actually hits home with what I said a minute ago when I was joking about Jim Harbaugh, I think North Carolina is too incestuous. I really do. Listen, I am of the belief North Carolina is probably the best job in college basketball. And, go call the biggest names, go offer the most money. Let everybody know we win national championships. This is the highest standard that you can possibly have in this sport. But it became pretty clear early on that they want to keep this thing in the family. There were no great candidates. We know what happened before Roy Williams took the job. They had Matt Doherty. He did not work out well, but they wanted to keep it in the family. Hubert Davis was within the program. He was Roy Williams' lead assistant. I think it's a mistake. I think you're North Carolina. You're not, Georgia or Florida or Tennessee or whatever. You're North Carolina. Go break the bank. Go get the best candidate possible. There are people that will listen to the job. I'll leave you with this. I've said this many times. One time I asked John Calipari. John Calipari, if people don't remember, he had things rolling at Memphis every year, Elite Eight, Final Four. And I asked him, why did you leave Memphis for Kentucky? And he said, because it's Kentucky. When Kentucky calls, you pick up, you listen, and frankly, you don't say no. And I felt like North Carolina, they had to do that. I was disappointed that they didn't. But if you're going to keep it in the family, I think promote the lead assistant, keep the team intact, and hope you can keep things rolling. But I'm with you, Rob. I thought there was a better candidate out there.
That's our man, Aaron Torres, Fox Sports Radio weekend host, college basketball analyst, host of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. Good job, my man.
And Aaron's
we'll
filling in
see.
for you,
You might
Chris.
be right tonight.
He's
Baylor.
filling in for you next Friday, Aaron Torres, right, Aaron?
Yes,
I'm off
sir. If
next
you'll have me,
Friday.
If you'll have me, I'm happy to join you, my man.
Well,
you know
maybe
you'll
you'll
be
have
on.
bragging rights if you
That's
get
right. Next Friday. You'll rub it in Chris's face while he's off for the weekend.
Is that what I get for winning the Fox Sports Radio bracket
That's
pool?
right.
With
That's
whoever won
your
gets
gift.
to fill in with Rob?
You don't
That's
get
it.
the $100,000 or $1 million or whatever it is we're advertising. But all right, brother.
Yeah,
Good
whatever.
job. Enjoy
Next
the
best
game
thing.
tonight. Starting there, we talked about this briefly with Aaron Torres last hour and about the value of going to college and playing in college. And he rightly said, look, Jalen Suggs is going to benefit greatly from his exposure he's gained at Gonzaga in college. But do you think that that's a standard black and white rule that, our buddy, our colleague, Doug Gottlieb always preaches that? The exposure these kids get in college.
Yeah, but you
is
got to
second
also
to none,
understand
blah, blah, blah.
that Doug comes from his dad coached college basketball, right? I'm just saying, like I get what these guys are. This is like the old model. So they love college basketball, both. Doug did college basketball for ESPN, for Fox, for CBS, Chris.
Played.
It's in his blood. I get it. So he can't understand a world without it. And and Aaron Torres is another guy who's a college basketball guy. That's his bread and butter. So he doesn't want college basketball to be nothing. I'm not knocking the guys. I'm just saying, you could point to that one shot or situation and say, look, see, this is why you need to play. I don't know how much money he made off that shot. Right. Really? Did he make $500,000 off that shot, Chris? I don't know. I really don't. But I know the other kid took home $300,000 after taxes for him and his family and still play basketball and still has a chance of being drafted exactly or close to where he was going to be drafted either way. So what did he lose? I don't look at it that way. Not when the schools are making the kind of money that they're making.
Right.
And the kids are getting nothing. I'm sorry. I can't.
Even if Suggs made the type of money Aaron's talking about, the other kids aren't.
Right.
And Suggs had to pull off the darn near miraculous to do it.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like,
so that's the exception.
Right.
Not the rule.
You're going to point to one guy who banked in the three as the clock was winding down. See, that's why you got to play college basketball. No. And Chris, you brought up the other players. Wiseman, who played, 3 games, and Kyrie, who played 8 or 9. We could go 11, on and on and on.
And LaMelo obviously never played in college.
And
Ben Simmons, remember, he stopped, 2/3 of the way through the season?
And was like, okay, I'm done.
Tournament.
Right.
Look, I'm going to say, and Rob, you know how we grew up. We've talked about it. The tournament was magical. Okay? That's how we grew up.
You talked about the Michigan State, Chris, Indiana State, Larry Bird, still isn't that the most watched?
Still the most watched. And it won't be topped because
it'll never be topped because the way we watch TV then and the numbers
at that
point.
Right,
and you know what, Chris? There were 3 channels, and the other 2 didn't put anything on against it. Do you know what I mean? That's the way television used to be. When there was a big event, they put on a bad movie or something because they didn't want to waste it. And my only point is that I remember that, and it college basketball was it. That was the biggest thing going. We're not there anymore.
I'll say this, Rob. You cannot beat the hoopla, the hype, and if you happen to be somebody that puts on a memorable performance, the jubilation and the history. Look, Jalen Suggs, especially if they win, he is going to go down in history. We're going to see that shot over and over again. What is this one shiny moment they play at the end of the tournament?
Right. That's
going to be on there. If they win, they'll be undefeated. I mean, he will go down in history. That's all great. And you can't beat that in the G League. You can't beat that or even equal it or even come close to equaling it overseas.
I agree with that.
We get all that. And if a kid wants that, then more power to him. But most kids aren't going to get that. Evan Mobley, okay, they had a nice little run, and that's fun. But we're not really going to remember him from the tournament. Cade Cunningham, we're not going to remember. We're actually trying to forget the tournament that Cade Cunningham had.
Right, because we looked at it and was like, is he really that good?
Yeah, really. It's the regular season we're looking at for him. So, I mean, that part, I think you would even agree with me, right? Like, we get it. It's a moment. But very few kids get that moment. You and I look back. I played freaking Division III basketball in college. And I look back. It was great. The camaraderie, the travel, all of that was fun. So you're right. You're not going to get that in some of these other alternatives. But you are getting money. It's not hypocritical, right? It's not, let me fake like I'm going to class, like I'm really trying to learn something. You're not getting used to the degree that you are in college. And so I think it's just a payoff. I'll never fault a kid, Rob, if he really wants to just say, look, I grew up watching the tournament. I want to play in it. I saw what Jalen Suggs did, what Mario Chalmers did. I want a chance to do it. I'll never fault a kid for doing that.
Yeah, I just don't think that those moments aren't there.
Get that. Right. It's hard to get that moment. It's once in every decade or so, right? Christian Laettner, Mario Chalmers, Jalen Suggs. There are some moments here and there, but it's just out. What about the regular kid that didn't do that? Did Cade Cunningham benefit? Really,
Right. No, I'm with you. I just think it's a mixed bag. It's hard, Chris, to turn down $300,000 after taxes. You could just say whatever you want. You know how many people work every day hard all their lives, Chris, never make $300,000? Seriously.
No, I look, I'm with
Seriously.
you, especially, and you don't know, you guys come from different backgrounds.
Right.
But if you're coming from a challenged background, no, that's life changing, and obviously it's going to be followed up by NBA money, which is really life changing. But for some people, $300,000 in a year,
right,
that's huge.
That's a lot of money. It could fix a lot of things, make life a lot better for a lot of people. So I'm not going to begrudge somebody who doesn't want to go the college route, and they see these other people who have not gone the college route and have been successful. Everybody doesn't do it the same way. There are a lot of people, Chris, who are very successful. They didn't go to college, right?
Right.
I wouldn't trade my experience for anything. But I'm telling you right here, right
Didn't
now.
Bill Gates not graduate?
Yep, a lot of successful people. But when I was at Southern Connecticut, Chris, if they would have come and said, we want you to be a sports writer for the New York Times in my junior year, I would have left college and gone to the paper and worked at night, going to school at night to finish my degree. But would I have taken the job, Chris? Absolutely. If they came to get me, I would have.
And the college experience is fantastic. I loved my 4 years of college. All right.
I was out in 3.5 years, and I was good with it.
Yeah, but these players aren't getting the real college experience, Rob. And obviously now it's different with COVID, but I'm just talking about in normal times, Rob. You know that. First of all, they're only staying a year, and then a lot of times they're isolated from normal. In a lot of cases, not all of them.
I'm sure they get around when it was used to be able to get the.
Yeah, they find their way to parties and such.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it's
who's that? Who's that 6'8" guy right there? Oh, he's on the team. Okay,
right. But yeah, it's look, I get it. The tournament is special, but it's interesting with Suggs, Rob. I was watching that game, and I was thinking. He's nice. He's a solid, cerebral.
But you didn't go overboard crazy, did you? Huh?
Right. I wasn't. I was like, okay, but I don't see any. He ain't really making nothing happen. And then it wasn't just the shot, the block of the Riley kid from Michigan.
Right.
I think his name's Riley. And then that pass, Rob. That pass was incredible. One end off the bounce, off the dribble. And then, of course, the shot. And so, somebody from Minnesota that I know texted me because I tweeted something like, what a gamer or something like that. And he texted me like, Minnesota guards are built different. We built different. I was like, please, Minnesota guard.
Right. I
was like, will you stop it?
That's from dribbling in the snow up there, right? Is that what it is?